sound of a phone notification, then a gasp, then crying. It was sent at 2:47 a.m., just 43 seconds long, but by the time the sun rose the next morning, a friendship that had lasted 20 years was completely dead. And the worst part? The person who sent it didn't even know the voice note had been delivered. Chioma and Adaora had been best friends since primary school. They met in Primary 3 at Queen's College in Lagos, two shy girls who sat next to each other and bonded over shared lunchboxes and a mutual fear of the mathematics teacher. By the time they graduated from university, they weren't just best friends, they were sisters. They knew each other's secrets, dreams, fears, and passwords. They had traveled together, cried together, laughed until their stomachs hurt together. "We'll be friends forever," they used to promise each other. "Nothing can come between us." They were both 28 now, living in Lagos, working hard, building careers. Chioma was a marketing executive at a tech company. Adaora worked in human resources at a bank. They spoke every day, calls, texts, voice notes about everything and nothing. Their friendship was the kind everyone envied, the kind that seemed unbreakable. Until one voice note changed everything. It started on a Thursday evening. Chioma had invited Adaora to a small get-together at her apartment. Just a few friends, drinks, and conversation. Nothing fancy. Adaora arrived wearing a beautiful Ankara dress that Chioma had helped her pick out weeks earlier. She brought wine and snacks, and the two friends hugged at the door like they hadn't seen each other in months, even though they'd had lunch together just 2 days before. "You look amazing," Chioma said. "You helped me choose this dress. Of course I look amazing," Adaora laughed. The evening started well. Music played softly in the background. People chatted, laughed, took photos for Instagram. Chioma's boyfriend, Chukudi, was there, along with a few colleagues from work and some mutual friends. Around 9 p.m., a man named Emeka arrived. He was Chukudi's friend from university, visiting Lagos for a business conference. Tall, well-dressed, with an easy smile and confident manner. Chioma introduced him to everyone, including Adaora. "Emeka, this is my best friend, Adaora. Adaora, this is Chukudi's friend, Emeka." They shook hands, exchanged pleasantries, nothing unusual. But Chioma noticed something. Throughout the evening, Emeka kept finding reasons to talk to Adaora. He laughed at her jokes a little too enthusiastically. He stood a little too close. His eyes followed her around the room. And Adaora was smiling, that particular smile, the one she used when she was interested in someone. Chioma felt a small twist in her stomach, but pushed it away. "Don't be silly," she told herself. "Adaora is just being friendly." By 11 p.m., most guests had left. Only Chukudi, Emeka, Adaora, and 2 other friends remained. They sat in Chioma's living room, talking about everything from politics to the latest Nigerian movies. Emeka mentioned he was staying at a hotel in Victoria Island and would be in Lagos for 3 more days. "Maybe we could all hang out again before I leave," he suggested, but his eyes were on Adaora. "That would be nice," Adaora said, smiling. When everyone finally left around midnight, Chioma pulled Chukudi aside. "Your friend Emeka, is he single?" Chukudi nodded. "Yes, why?" He seemed very interested in Adaora. "I noticed that too," Chukudi smiled. "They'd make a nice couple, actually. Emeka's a good guy, successful engineer, family-oriented, no drama." Chioma wanted to feel happy about that. She really did. But something nagged at her, a feeling she couldn't quite name. The next morning, Adaora called Chioma, sounding excited. "Girl, Emeka texted me last night." "Really? How did he get your number?" "He asked Chukudi for it. We've been chatting all morning. He's so funny, Chi, and smart, and he wants to take me to dinner tonight." "Tonight? That's fast."
I know, but he's only here for a few days, so why wait? You don't mind, right? Why would I mind? I don't know. You seemed a bit quiet last night when we were talking. I wasn't quiet, I was just tired. Of course I don't mind. I'm happy for you. But even as Chioma said the words, she felt that strange twist in her stomach again. Over the next 2 days, Adaora and Emeka were inseparable. They had dinner on Friday, lunch on Saturday. They went to the beach. They took photos together. They were moving fast, very fast. But Adaora insisted it felt right. It's like I've known him forever, Adaora gushed during one of their phone calls. We have so much in common. He gets me, Chi. He really gets me. Chioma listened, made encouraging sounds, and tried to ignore the uncomfortable feeling growing inside her chest. On Saturday evening, Adaora asked Chioma to meet her for drinks. I need to talk to you about something serious, Adaora said. They met at their favorite bar in Lekki. Adaora was glowing, practically bouncing in her seat. Chi, I think I'm falling for him. You've known him for 3 days. I know it sounds crazy, but sometimes you just know, right? Haven't you ever felt that way? Chioma thought about when she first met Chakudi. It had taken months before she felt sure about him, but she just nodded. There's something else, Adaora said, her voice dropping. Emeka wants me to come visit him in Abuja next weekend. He's offered to pay for my flight, hotel, everything. Next weekend, Adaora? That's really fast. I know, but what if this is it? What if he's the one? I've been single for so long, and finally, someone amazing shows up. I can't let fear hold me back. Chioma wanted to be supportive. She wanted to be the friend who cheered her on, who encouraged her to take chances. But something felt wrong. Just be careful, okay? Chioma said finally. You don't really know him yet. Adaora's smile faded slightly. You don't like him. I didn't say that. You don't have to say it. I can feel it. Every time I mention him, you get this look on your face. What look?
Like you disapprove. Like you think I'm making a mistake. I'm just being cautious. I'm your best friend. I'm supposed to look out for you. Or maybe you're jealous. The word hung in the air between them like a bomb. Jealous? Chioma's voice was sharp. Of what? Of me being happy. Of me finding someone. That's ridiculous. I have Chukwudi. Why would I be jealous? I don't know, Chi. You tell me. Because ever since Emeka showed up, you've been acting weird. I haven't been acting weird. I've been acting like a concerned friend who doesn't want to see you get hurt by some guy you barely know. They stared at each other, both breathing hard. This was their first real fight in years. Adaora stood up. I thought you'd be happy for me. I thought my best friend would support me. But clearly, I was wrong. She grabbed her purse and left. Chioma sat alone at the table, her hands shaking. What just happened? That night, Chioma couldn't sleep. She tossed and turned, replaying the argument in her head. Maybe Adaora was right. Maybe she was being jealous, though she couldn't understand why. Around 2 a.m., unable to quiet her mind, Chioma decided to talk it out. She opened WhatsApp and pressed the voice note button. She didn't call Adaora directly because she didn't want to wake her. Voice notes were perfect. She could say what she needed to say, and Adaora could listen in the morning when she was calm. Chioma pressed record and started talking. Ada, I'm so sorry about tonight. I've been thinking about why I reacted that way, and I think you might be right. Maybe I am jealous. Not of you finding someone, but of how easy it was for you and Emeka, how fast everything happened. Chukwudi and I have been together for 3 years, and he still hasn't proposed. Meanwhile, you meet Emeka on Thursday, and by Saturday he's flying you to Abuja and talking about how special you are. And I know I shouldn't compare, but... Chioma paused, taking a breath. The words were spilling out now, unfiltered. And I guess I'm also scared of losing you.
We've been best friends forever, and I've seen what happens when your friends get serious with someone. They disappear, they stop calling, they cancel plans, and I'm terrified that Emeka is going to take you away from me, which is selfish, I know. You deserve to be happy. You deserve someone amazing. I miss you already, and he's only been around for 3 days.
Chioma's voice cracked slightly. I'm a terrible friend. I should be celebrating with you, not throwing cold water on everything. I love you, Ada. I'm sorry. Call me tomorrow so we can talk properly. Good night. She pressed send and immediately felt better. There, she'd been honest, vulnerable. By morning, they'd talk, laugh about this, and everything would go back to normal. Chioma put her phone on silent and finally fell asleep. She woke up Saturday morning to 17 missed calls from Adaora and dozens of text messages. Her heart dropped. The first text said, "How could you?" The second, "I trusted you with everything." The third, "You're not my friend. You never were." Chioma's hands shook as she scrolled through message after message, each one angrier than the last. Finally, she called Adaora. The phone rang once before Adaora picked up. "Don't." Adaora's voice was cold. "Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't ever contact me again." "Ada, what happened? What did I do?" "What did you do? You sent me that voice note, Chioma. You sent me that horrible, jealous, manipulative voice note." "I know, I was apologizing." "You weren't apologizing. You were trying to make me feel guilty for being happy. You were trying to sabotage my relationship." "What? No, Ada, that's not what I meant." "I played it for Emeka." Chioma's blood turned to ice. "You... what?" "This morning. He was here. We were having breakfast, and your voice note came through. I played it for him because I thought you were apologizing. I thought you were being a good friend." Adaora's voice broke. "But instead, he heard you basically calling him a threat to our friendship. He heard you saying how fast everything was, how I barely know him, how you're scared he's going to take me away from you. Do you know how that made me look? Do you know what he must think of me now?" "Ada, I didn't mean..." "He left, Chi. He said maybe I need some time to figure out what I really want. He said maybe you're right, maybe we are moving too fast. He basically ended things because of your voice note." "I'm so sorry." You're not sorry. You're jealous. You've always been jealous of me. Anytime something good happens to me, you find a way to ruin it. When I got promoted at work, you said it was probably just because they needed to fill a quota. When I bought my car, you said I should have waited for a better deal. And now, when I finally meet someone who might actually be the one, you poison it with your insecurity. That's not fair. Isn't it? Think about it, Chioma. Really think about it. How many times have you supported me without adding a but? How many times have you been genuinely happy for me without making it about yourself? Chioma opened her mouth, but no words came out. "That's what I thought," Adaora said quietly. "I'm done. We're done. Don't contact me again." The line went dead. Chioma sat on her bed, staring at her phone, trying to process what had just happened. Her voice note, her private, vulnerable voice note, had been played for Emeka, and now Adaora thought she was a jealous, manipulative friend who didn't want her to be happy. She called Chukwudi immediately. "Babe, what happened?" he asked after she explained everything through tears. "That voice note didn't sound manipulative to me. You were just being honest about your feelings." "But Adaora played it for Emeka, and now he thinks I'm some controlling friend who doesn't want her to be happy." "Why would she play your private voice note for him? That's a violation of trust." Chioma hadn't thought of it that way. She said she thought I was apologizing. Even so, it was meant for her, not him. She shouldn't have shared it. Chioma wiped her tears. Maybe I was being jealous. Maybe I was trying to sabotage things. Or maybe you were just being honest about your complicated feelings and she overreacted. Over the next week, Chioma tried to reach out to Adaora multiple times, Text messages went unanswered. Calls went to voicemail. She even showed up at Adaora's apartment, but Adaora wouldn't open the door. "I have nothing to say to you. Just leave me alone," Chioma shouted through the door. Chioma talked to mutual friends, trying to understand what was happening. Some sided with Adaora, saying Chioma had been unsupportive from the beginning. Others sided with Chioma, saying Adaora had no right to share a private voice note. The friendship that everyone thought was unbreakable had shattered completely.
2 months passed. Chioma learned through mutual friends that Emeka had indeed ended things with Adaora after hearing the voice note. He'd told her he didn't want to come between her and her best friend, but the reality was the voice note had made him see their whirlwind romance for what it was. Too fast, too intense, probably not sustainable. Adaora blamed Chioma for everything. 3 months after the fight, Chioma received a message from an unknown number. "Hi Chioma, this is Emeka. I hope you don't mind me reaching out. I got your number from Chikudi. I wanted to talk to you about what happened." They met for coffee the next day. "I'm sorry," Emeka said immediately. "I'm sorry for my part in all of this. I should never have let Adaora play that voice note for me. It was private, and I definitely shouldn't have reacted the way I did." "What do you mean?" "I ended things with Adaora because of what you said in that voice note, but not for the reasons you think." Chioma frowned. "I don't understand. When I heard you talking about how fast we were moving, how she barely knew me, how I was maybe taking her away from her life, it made me realize something. You were right. We were moving way too fast. I was caught up in the excitement of it, and so was she, but we hadn't built any real foundation. Your voice note was a wake-up call." "Then why did Adaora say you ended things because I was controlling?" Emeka sighed. "Because that's what she heard. She heard you as someone trying to sabotage her happiness. I heard you as someone genuinely concerned about her best friend. Same words, different interpretations." "So the friendship ended because of a misunderstanding?" "The friendship ended because Adaora felt betrayed. She trusted you with her excitement, and she felt like you responded with judgment instead of support. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Only you two can figure that out." Chioma went home that evening and listened to the voice note again. She'd saved it in her sent messages. She listened to her own voice, tired and vulnerable at 2 a.m., admitting to jealousy, fear, and insecurity. She heard herself being honest, maybe too honest, about complicated feelings she didn't fully understand. Was she trying to sabotage Adaora, or was she just processing her emotions out loud, the way best friends do? She didn't know anymore. 6 months after the fight, Chioma saw Adaora at a mutual friend's wedding. They stood on opposite sides of the venue, not speaking, not even making eye contact. The bride, tired of the tension, pulled them both aside. "This is ridiculous. You two were sisters. You're going to throw away 20 years over one voice note?" "It wasn't just one voice note," Adaora said quietly. "It was everything. The tone she's always used with me, the subtle judgments, the way she's never been fully happy for me. That voice note just made it all clear." "That's not true," Chioma protested. "I've always supported you. With conditions, with warnings, with be carefuls and maybe you shoulds. That's not support, Chi. That's control." They stared at each other across the small room. "Maybe we were never really friends. Maybe I just never noticed until now." She walked out. Chioma stood there, tears streaming down her face, realizing that sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. Sometimes it destroys everything you thought you knew. That voice note, 43 seconds of raw honesty recorded at 2:47 a.m., ended a 20-year friendship, not because of what was said, but because of what was heard. And sometimes that's the same thing, and sometimes it's not.